So for this week's tip, what I wanted to do was talk about PDFs and specifically PDFs using the intranet and just PDFs in general on your computer. We get a lot of calls and questions over the emails that come through from marketing. Marketing has been sending out emails for all of our listings. So when you get a new listing, you get an email that has a link to numerous flyers that have come from one place that they're creating for you, and just different pieces. And you click on those links and they generally open PDF. So pretty much all the links on those emails are PDF related. And then there's problems with the way that they're being viewed and printing. So I just wanted to explain something basic about PDFs. And I think it'll take care of all the problems that people have been having and solve them from this point forward. And then we'll talk a little bit about flyers while we're in there at the same time. So first of all, those emails that go out are like an introduction. Here's some quick and easy flyers that we made for you. So if you don't want to put much thought into it, click on them and deal with the PDF and print them. But hopefully most of you also know that you can go into one place and create that same flyer or change it. So I get a lot of emails saying, I like these flyers that came through, but can I change the pictures on it? Can I do this? Yes, you can do all that. We're not going to do that for you. You get that base link set that you're being sent. Anything you want customized after that, you can go in and customize it. So I'm going to start there. I'll talk about flyers and then I'll show you that little PDF kind of secret when we get into there. So hopefully, can somebody maybe send me a quick chat? Can you see the one place window on the right? I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. All right, thank you, Justin, appreciate that. Okay, so from ouroneplace.com, you log in and you're going to go to My Listings. And My Listings, this has been kind of we've been having some problems with Google Chrome and the auto login. For whatever reason, it throws a second login up there when you go through one of those links. But if you just log in again, it goes through fine. So when I click on My Listings, it will give me at the bottom of this screen on the left all of the active listings. All of my listings actually are all of this agent's listings, from starting with active, contingency, pending, sold. Any sneak previews would be down at the bottom if you've added any of those. And then if I want to create anything associated with one of these listings, like a flyer, all I have to do is just select the listing and go up to the Create Flyer button right here. Scroll down this big scroll bar on the right-hand side. These windows have double scroll bars, so that's another thing that confuses people. But if I scroll down here to this brochure drop-down, I can go to brochures, data sheets, flyers, J&J, Max Brooks stuff. And if I just click on the flyer tab, there's two, you see how there's two scroll bars here on the right? I think it confuses people. So the big one is scrolling down the entire page. So it gives me all the information. The small one is scrolling down my options of flyers. So a lot of people miss that smaller scroll bar and think that these 4 flyers are the only ones. If you keep scrolling down on each list, you have multiple flyers available for you. You go all the way down. A lot of the newer flyers are down at the bottom. So I can select any one of these flyers, and it's going to change that preview here. Don't worry about the logos that are down here. The previews just cover all different logos. They're all that's just a preview, so you'll see the brands are different on all these. It's just letting you see that the system's going to print your particular logo, whatever it is. So you don't have to be concerned with the preview. And then when I'm ready and I choose the one that I want, whatever one is here, the larger version, and click Create Flyer, it's going to pop up this little green bar, and I'm going to say click here to view the flyer. And this is where things get a little tricky. So my web browser is Google Chrome. So Google Chrome is attempting to say, oh, this is a PDF document. If we go back a few years ago, that PDF wouldn't open like it just did now. It's kind of a, I don't want to say new and maybe newer thing that the browsers do by opening PDFs. I mean, probably 5 years at least new. Before, you would just have that PDF file and you'd have to download the file. So this is basically opened a PDF file using Google Chrome or using my web browser. If I was on Safari on the Mac, which I'll show you that in a second, I'm going to flip over to the Mac and show you how it then it's going to open that PDF probably in preview, or Safari will attempt to open the PDF. So there's a few things that you need to know about PDFs. The reason why PDFs were created, or what their main purpose is number one, they can be opened in all platforms. So they're a great format to use to send out to anybody a file that we know that the people are going to be able to open it on a Macintosh, are going to be able to open it on a PC or a Windows 10 machine, Windows 7 machine, whatever it is, they could open that file. So it's a universal file that's going to work for everybody. But also, and almost just as important as that, is it's supposed to retain all print functionality of the original document that was created or that was used to create that PDF. So you'll see a lot of people in graphic design and marketing and that kind of stuff will often use PDFs because it retains all the exact print information. So the point here is that you're going to print that document better using a full-fledged PDF program like Adobe Acrobat than you're ever going to do by looking at it when your web browser. So what's been happening is, in some cases, the web browser doesn't even do a good job of displaying the PDF. So we've been seeing text here kind of squished together and overlapping each other, and you'll see logos piled on top of each other. So you'll open up the flyer and you'll see Real Estate One logo on top of a Max Brooker logo on top of a Johnstone & Johnstone logo. That is not only just displaying for them in the window, but it's also printing. So here's the workaround, and I've probably answered this question probably at least 150 times. So it's nice to get this out there and recorded so I'll be able to pass the video on. So first of all, since I'm in Chrome looking at that PDF, I need to either force Chrome to use another program to open the PDF, or even better, save the PDF to my computer and then choose what I want to do there. You'll notice that in this window, I get a nice little pop-up that says open in Acrobat. That's dependent on the version of Chrome that I'm using, probably the version of Windows that I'm using. So you may or may not have that same option. If you do, that's your easiest route. Just click that and it's going to open that flyer in Acrobat instead of it being opened in, and there it is in Acrobat, instead of it being opened in your browser. So now you have a program that is specialized. All that Acrobat Reader does is focus on PDFs. So it's the top program to be using. It's going to completely handle that PDF much better than it's going to by using it in Google Chrome. So now, if you were having that issue prior to this, when you're in your browser, you should not be having this problem, that problem here now. So the logo stack will disappear, your text issue will go away. And if you print now using Acrobat's print functions, it's going to print perfectly. Okay, it's actually going to probably print slightly better than it would have printed if you printed it right from your browser anyway. So that's an added benefit of going through that extra step of saving it. It's also allowed you to then save that PDF to your computer so you have it for future. So if I create a flyer that's not going to change and I run out of flyers and I need another set of flyers, I don't have to go back into one place and create the flyer again. I just open the flyer back up in my listing folder and start printing more copies of that same version or that saved flyer. Okay, so that was an easy way to go through it because I have that little pop-up there that says open in Acrobat. So if you don't have that, what else can you do?
I didn't know if it was my nose.
Now, again, I'm on a Windows 10 machine, so things may be in different places for you. You might have to put your mouse down along the bottom of the PDF to get a download button. Mine is right across the top in the middle here. So I have a print option. And again, this is just Chrome, so I'm not going to print from Chrome, but I'm looking for that download button right there. So it's an arrow pointing down. If I select that, it's going to ask me where I want to save that document. I'm just going to say the desktop, and I'm going to hit save. So now I've downloaded that PDF to my computer. And I think that's 1-2 second step. Doesn't take very long. So let's say that this is now, this is now the PDF that I downloaded. So if this doesn't have that little Acrobat logo on it the first time you do this, then right click on the file and you go to open if you want to open that file. So I can open this file by double clicking it, or always in any icon I can choose to open. But see how it says open with Adobe Acrobat here up top? Well, if I go down, there's an option right on this open with. So I can force this to say open with. One second. Thank you. So I can force this to say open with Adobe Acrobat Reader. Even if you have the full version of Acrobat, I believe that Acrobat Reader still does a better job, because Acrobat is the program that allows you, it's not a free version, it allows you to edit PDFs. So even if you have Acrobat installed, I still think Acrobat Reader does a better job of just reading and printing a file. Acrobat, the full version, is if I want to edit that PDF, okay? All right, so I can go down to open with and Acrobat Reader right there, all right? Now, I can also right click on this file and go down to properties. And from the properties window, if you see right here, right down here, it says opens with Adobe Acrobat Reader, change. So if yours doesn't say Adobe Acrobat Reader, change it, and then it'll give you this list of all the programs that it feels are capable of opening a PDF on your particular computer, and then you select Acrobat Reader and click OK. That makes, from that point on, all PDF files will be opened by Adobe Acrobat Reader, okay? That may give you that option available that I showed you. Just by doing that may allow this little open in Acrobat to pop up on your page, so it saves you a step. But even if it doesn't, you still want to go up and download that PDF to your desktop and then double click it. So I wouldn't have to say open with anymore. So all I have to do is download. Every PDF I download, I know is going to download as a Acrobat file, and I've now made that my default. So then all I have to do is double click on that PDF, and it's automatically going to open up in Acrobat Reader. And then I'll be ready to go and print it and do whatever I need to do on the Reader version instead of my browser version, okay? There you go. Now, real quick, I want to see if I can try and flip over here, if this is possible, on this one, and I'm going to flip over to the Mac real quick. All right, so same idea here on the Mac. I have a flyer open, a PDF document that's open, and I have one right here saved on my desktop. So if I right click on the Mac, instead of properties, I can go to get info. It's almost the same thing, right? So get info opens up this big long bar, and it just has information about this particular file. And if I go down about midway, you'll see it says open with, and I have a drop-down menu. So I can choose Acrobat Reader as the default. See how it says default right there? And once I do that, and you just close that window, and from that point on, and I want to choose that change all button if I don't already have Acrobat set on my Mac to open all. That means every PDF I open from this point on the Mac is going to open in Acrobat. So on these, if I do a, that's on the, I'm gonna go back to that's the actual Acrobat file. I just wanted to show you real quick. There's the mouse over part that I was talking about. So in Safari, when looking at a PDF, you'll often have, just by holding your mouse down at the bottom of the PDF, you'll see this little bar where you can zoom in, zoom out, and the download button right there. So if you want to download or need to download that PDF and then make that connection to open with or always open with, you just do it on the bottom there under the download option. You can probably right click and download on it also. And just a few more things I'm going to show you. So I'm going to close that PDF. I'm back here on the flyer option. And I'm going to close that little flyer window. I receive this question quite often also, and I actually just received it as early as, or as recently as yesterday. How do I change the photos on my flyer? So you can see the flyer that we were looking at earlier had 3 photos on it. It's naturally going to pick the first 3 photos of that listing. So how do I change those? So let me just, actually, let's go back and create one real quick to see. So you can see one that has multi. I don't want to do one that's easy, let's say 4. So here's one with 4 pictures. I'm going to go back to one place with that home still selected here on my listings page. This time I'm going to go up here to the update listing icon. And when I click on that, it's going to take me to the listing information that comes through from the MLS. And if I go over to the right-hand side under the Actions menu here on the side, you'll see a Photos link. Actually, there's a media setup here also for the virtual tour links right below that have come through from the MLS. So if I select Photos, here are all the images for that listing that have come through from the MLS feed. And you'll also see at the top of this page that this is set, the photo folder is set to MLS. You don't want to change that. You want to keep it feeding from the MLS. But what you can do, you have a save option right here, and I can actually click and hold my mouse button down on the photo, pick it up and drag and drop it and rearrange the order of the photos. Then I select the save button here. Then I go back to that listing page again, select the listing, and whoops, I'd hit the home button here, not the listing page, sorry, the home icon in the top left corner once I'm in One Place Connect. So I come back to this section, select the listing, go back to create flyer, print and create my flyer, save that PDF, then I can go back into that listing again and rearrange them and save it, bring it back to the order that it was in before, because you want a certain order for that listing in the MLS, and then you want a different order for the flyers, so you can change it back and forth. We have been trying to create an easier system for that, so eventually we'll have something that you can do right on the flyer. It is on our list of wants with our developers, but I don't think it's at a high priority level right now, so we will eventually have that option to easily drag and move photos around and select which photo you want to use on the flyer. But for now, that's kind of the workaround for it. All right. One more thing while I'm in here, kind of in that same section, if I, with that listing selected, back to update listing, I had mentioned before that on the right-hand side where you saw that the actions menu, the photos link, that the virtual tour information is here under media setup. I'm not sure if this has a tour. It does, which is great. I just want to let you know I did a tech tip a couple weeks ago on this subject, and I wanted to make sure I got some of you live. You can see it, exactly what I'm talking about. So if I upload a virtual tour in the MLS, it may be a video tour. It may be a 360 tour. It may be just a traditional virtual tour. It might be a virtual slideshow, all kinds of things that I may be uploading. But when the consumer sees that button, if they see video, they may be more likely to click on it, or a virtual tour, they may be more likely to click on it. So you can label them now. So once they come into One Place, if you click that little edit button next to your virtual tour, and you can add a tour also, there's an add button there, where it says media type right here, you can now change the label. So if you want it to say video instead, or floor plan, or whatever you want it to do, you can change that label, and it's going to change the button on your listing on Real Estate One family of company websites. So it's on your website or the company site. And now there's a big gray button underneath the photos that's going to say video, and over to the right where the traditional virtual tour button was before. So that just thought I'd point that out to you while I'm in this section, that you can easily do that. So people that spend a lot of money on those custom videos, they really want that video link to save video. So, and the 360 is the same thing. Somebody may be more likely to click on that link because it says a 360 tour than just maybe virtual tour, whatever it is. It just gives you the option to kind of take that a little bit farther and change it. Unfortunately, we can't just get that information from the MLS. Not all the MLSs are sending, have made the changes in the virtual tours. Real Comp is now allowing 2 unbranded and 2 branded tours. They think they do allow labeling, but they're not sending the labeling through to us correctly yet, and other MLSs aren't. So hopefully down the road in a later edition of this, we'll start pulling those labels right in from the MLS, so you don't have to go in and take that extra step. A lot of times that'll happen. We'll do something first, and then eventually that will catch up to it, so we can automate it, so you don't have to do it manually. All right.